Good afternoon, everyone, and great to be here. And thank you for joining us for this very exciting panel about how AI and human voice technology is powering, transforming organizational transformation over here. So we have a very exciting panel lined up. I'm going to get them to introduce themselves briefly, but we have Aron from Rev, which is actually the common thread of this entire panel that powers a voice transcription technology company that helps all of the organizations here. We have Zohar from Vimeo, a leading video technology platform, and we also have Tamara from Barometer, which does platform suitability for podcast marketing and advertisers. And we also have Caleb, which from HireVue, which is an enterprise-level hiring platform. And so we will be uncovering all the different real-world use cases of AI, speech AI specifically, and how it's being helped in businesses and the transformation that's being done over there. And so I'd like to start off this panel, first of all, with a quick introduction from all of you. If I could get what your role is and kind of how you are playing a role in the organization and an overview of the company, as well as how speech AI is helping your business. So Aron, let's start with you.
Great. Welcome, everyone. Aron England. I lead product and technology for Rev. We are a voice AI company. It specializes in transcription, captions, and subtitling. And we process over 18 billion minutes of file and transcription at this point. But although we're AI-led, we do have a unique attribute about us that we have the ability through a marketplace of over 72,000 freelancers for those companies where absolute quality and accuracy is paramount. We can actually offload that onto them to do the work on behalf of them. So we're both AI and human-led. And so I guess the next part of the question is how are we using
AI?
Yeah, how are we using it in the operations? So we're unique that we actually service virtually every industry, every use case you can imagine out there. And one of the areas that we're focused on is specializing for vertical, maybe our mic's too close, verticalization. And the legal industry specifically, if you think about it, they have a very special need from a standpoint of that when you're in a courtroom setting, a disposition, there are many hours of audio recording. And so we've enabled through AI to cut down and be much more efficient by about 300%. And so we combine our ASR, or automatic speech recognition capabilities with customized large language models. And instead of taking up to 5 to 7 days to transcribe into perfect quality and into regulatory and jurisdictional formats, we actually use those large language models to do a first AI pass. And that cuts down our work to about a day and a half, and our goal next year is to get it to less than 8 hours. So that's an example of using the power of our technology with generative technologies to really make a difference from an operational perspective, but most importantly, it helps our customers because within the legal industry specifically, oftentimes there are something called rush jobs. And our customers can make up to 10 times more revenue on those rush jobs, and we have the technology that enables them to do that and getting it down to less than 8 hours.
Interesting. Go ahead, Zohar.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zohar. I'm the SVP of Product at Vimeo. For those of you who don't know, Vimeo is one of the largest video platforms in the world. About a quarter of the world's video traffic goes through Vimeo. I lead our video creation and video editing products. That includes everything from your upload experience to Vimeo, creating videos from scratch, from templates, recording videos, making interactive videos, and live streaming and live events products. The way we use and leverage AI today is in several different ways. We try to make it easier. We try to make it easier for people to create videos by leveraging AI. Many times when people hear video, they think it's complex and difficult to do. And we try to make products that really lower the barriers for anybody, no matter what their background or experience is, to easily get started with video, whether it's creating it, editing, live streaming it, and so forth. And with AI, really kind of three main things that we leverage to make videos easy to create and edit, to make it easy to discover videos, and to make it easier to consume videos, especially long-form video formats.
Cool. Hi, everybody. I'm Tamara Zubatiy. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Barometer. Barometer is a brand suitability and contextual targeting solution for user-generated content, specifically podcasts. So any of the ad tech people in the room, we're like double verified, but for user-generated content. And AI is pretty much the whole foundation of our company. We have a really cool partnership with Rev because our core competency is also natural language processing, and our partnership allows us to focus on the parts of it that we like to do, which is analysis of the content in depth. So to give you a little insight into like how does this affect the operations of, say, a national advertiser who wants to buy podcast ads, before Barometer, they literally had people on their teams that would sit and listen to the episodes and then try to make a decision like, should we buy this show? And so you can imagine millions of dollars went into creating the show, and then some intern on their lunch break would arbitrarily decide that, no, we won't invest in that. And so Barometer basically listens to all of the podcasts and analyzes them for the things that advertisers care about, surfacing those insights so an advertiser can easily target whatever they want, whatever the perfect context is. So if I'm Bank of America, I don't want to run on negative discussions of credit cards. If I am insert company here and insert whatever you want and don't want, and then we make that happen so that you can buy podcasts that scale responsibly.
My name is Caleb Rottman, and I work for HireVue now, and I'm the senior data scientist and technical lead for the data science team at HireVue. What HireVue is it's a company that processes that works on screening candidates for jobs. Our kind of big product is called the on-demand video interview, or an asynchronous video interview, where a candidate is allowed to take an interview on their own time and record responses on their own time, so they don't have to go to an in-person interview. And one of the kind of additional products we sell along with that on-demand video interviewing is automatic interview scoring. So how can we extract from an interview what someone's core competencies are? How can we extract from an interview if they're more or less likely to succeed in a role? And basically our only input to these machine learning models that do this interview scoring is transcriptions of the candidates' responses. So having accurate transcriptions is super important. And then the other thing that I work on specifically at HireVue is I work doing research and development in fair machine learning and kind of algorithmic bias because as important as it is to create algorithms that are really accurate, it is equally important to us to make sure that these algorithms are treating candidates fairly.
Thanks for those intros. I think it's truly remarkable to see the diverse ways in which AI and voice technology is playing an impact across different sectors. And so, Caleb, I actually want to go back to you. I want to dive specifically into more examples and use cases. HireVue is kind of revolutionizing the way recruitment is going to take place with AI. What I'm curious about is how are you balancing AI with human judgment to make sure that there's a fair and comprehensive evaluation of the candidates that happens there?
Yeah, so there's kind of two levels to this. One is what parts are humans really integral in the process and what parts are they not? And we don't use any human in the transcription process itself. So all of our video interviewing models are based strictly on computer transcribed interview text. But the way that we work with humans is that we kind of have this joint product where someone takes an on-demand video interview, and even if you don't do any automatic interview scoring on that interview, we still have that platform for recruiters to evaluate candidates, and we really encourage people to use kind of that technology to be able to evaluate. But the great thing is that you can do that in conjunction with AI scoring. to kind of get the best of both worlds, to give kind of recruiters a leg up by doing some automatic scoring, but also working with them to help them judge candidates fairly.
Yeah, and so kind of having that critical human touch point still, but then helping them leverage AI to get ahead and give them more insights.
Exactly.
As well. I want us to go to you as well, Tamara, with Barometer. It's so critical that you have accurate transcriptions and that the podcast content is aligning with your brand values, right? So I want to know, how are you integrating the transcription of AI in being able to assess podcast content? How crucial is that? And what steps do you take to make sure it's following brand safety guidelines?
Yeah, that's a great question. So similarly, we use the automated transcription outputs. We don't have a human touch on editing or redacting the transcripts unless it is flagged in manual QA. So we do take a subsample of all that we analyze and everything that's output by Rev, and we have either our clients or our team review it and make sure that there's no issues. And so transcription error is the only time when we would ever make like a point exception to change something if something like that is discovered. But that being said, we designed Barometer to not be a keyword-based solution. Keyword-based solutions have historically been the problem with brand safety and brand suitability technology. Why are they a problem? Because words have a bunch of different meanings depending on the context in which they appear. And historically, keyword-based technology is disproportionately disenfranchising of underrepresented creators. And so it kind of further compounds that problem. From our perspective, what we did was bring in contextual layers into our understanding, so we're not entirely dependent on the keywords. So you may be wondering, like, then why does the quality matter? The quality is still really important, because if we have a bunch of false flags, then eventually some of those might actually trigger an incorrect analysis. And so it's really important to us to have a baseline that we can trust. And in fact, we actually do not accept transcripts that don't have a certain word error rate, because our models are calibrated to a certain quality of transcripts that we require in order to do the processing. And so for us, the transcription accuracy is essential because that is the primary input into our analysis of the content itself. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think it kind of highlights how important accurate transcription is for you in order to be able to balance effective advertising, right, with the brand integrity. And moving on to you, Zohar, at Vimeo, which is kind of leading video technology platform, as you said, how is transcription helping you create user experiences for your audience and engage with them at a broader and wider rate?
So when it comes to video, we actually leverage automated transcriptions in several ways. The first one, it might be obvious. It's captioning videos. 1 in 20 Americans have some sort of difficulty in hearing, and at Vimeo, one of our most important goals is making content accessible to as many people as possible. In addition to that, you also have different consumption trends today. It's interesting to see that Gen Z and millennials, 70% of them, prefer to watch videos that have captions on them. The reason for that is because a lot of people watch videos on mute without audio at all. And that's part of making it easier to consume videos for those people. Another way might be less obvious, but it's for editing videos. So as you can imagine, a lot of the videos that are uploaded or created on Vimeo are speech heavy. They have a lot of speech in them. Talking head videos, could be a recording of a webinar that was done on the platform. And now you have this hour-long piece of content that you now want to edit. We use Rev to transcribe these videos, and through the transcription, somebody can edit the video. So no matter if you don't have any video editing experience whatsoever, if you've never edited a video in your life, you can now edit a video just like you would edit a Word document. So you have the transcription, you have a timeline under the video, and you can select a word, a sentence, a paragraph, and just delete it automatically. It deletes it from the video. And we do things automatically as well. So based on the transcription, we can also allow users to automatically batch remove filler words like ums and ahs that I just said a million times as I was speaking. We can cut that out in the recording with a click of a button. Same thing with things like awkward pauses, especially in the beginning and at the end of video recordings. So that's just some of the ways that we leverage captioning and AI today when it comes to video.
I find that very exciting, the fact that you can just edit videos the way you edit a Google Doc, and anybody can become a video editor in a way.
It's become so well adopted within the company for people recording videos for communication, internal communication, meeting replacements, and it feels pretty magical, I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. You just remove all the ums and ahs with a click of a button. I wish we could do that live as well.
Me too.
Yeah. And so, Aron, coming to you, Rev is kind of that common thread among all these three companies that we have here, really, and how it's being used in enterprise for hiring, it's being used for podcasts, it's being used in video. And so I'm very interested as the person who is kind of leading the product and technology at Rev. You're at the forefront of blending human expertise with the AI technology, and you were talking about that unique blend that you have and the unique model that you have. So how are you at Rev pushing forward the innovation with how human expertise is going to help your AI solutions? And also in relation to that, what are the specific challenges that you're foreseeing as this technology evolves?
Yeah, good. Great question. So as you heard from the others on the panel, the transcription, the ASR technology is foundational. And so as we move forward, you're going to start hearing a lot more about multimodal models moving forward. That's pulling together different sources of information to generate a very specific outcome. Images, video, text, Slack messages, Excel files. So one of the things that we're working on, and we're doing some R&D on today, is to create some additional foundational capabilities that will not only support our current customers, but create a whole new universe of capability. And you're going to start hearing more, I believe, around this notion of co-pilots. You already hear it in the media from some of the big vendors. All of the technology providers out there are providing some way of providing a personal assistant to you. So if you can think about this for a moment. Today alone in the US, there's about 100 million hours worth of meetings that are occurring today alone. Imagine if there was a technology that could attend meetings for you and be your co-pilot. And so all of us have experienced this today. We're out. There's a fear of missing out. And there's a survey I read not too long ago. 74% of every employee has a fear of not having the information they need to be successful. So imagine that we can record the meeting. We can record the emotion that happens in the meeting. And when you return to work either that day or on a vacation, you get a full manifest of information about where you were mentioned, what the summary of every meeting was, what the topics were that were discussed, and most importantly, what are the action items assigned to you and others in the team so that you can continue the efficiency. So that's one way that we're innovating. Another area that we're investing in R&D is related to the emotive sentiment. And so by combining computer vision with the speech AI, we can actually detect through annotation, body language, we can actually understand the believability. So I imagine at some point, companies in this space are going to have the ability to in real time have a co-pilot that says, what's the believability of that candidate when they're interviewing relative to the work experience? Are they over-indexing? Are they over-representing what their actual abilities were? And actually give coaching advice in real time as follow-up questions to get deeper. So all that's going to be possible through the multimodal. And the last is anyone who has to create content. And I don't want to, I'm sorry, I'm probably going a little long here, but imagine if you're a journalist and you record a bunch of interviews, you have a bunch of resource files. We have the capability to auto-generate a draft article for you. And I was on a plane ride yesterday. I probably shouldn't admit this, but I was looking through the seats, and I noticed the gentleman in front of me had there was an OpenAI logo. He was working for a wealth management planning company, And I saw him spend 2 hours going back to OpenAI, doing a prompt, pulling in a Word file, pulling in a PDF, pulling in Excel. But what he was actually creating was a training kit for a new product. And imagine that, in a matter of 2 hours, he was able to generate something that if we had an AI co-pilot for you, you could probably do within the matter of just a couple of minutes. And so I had no doubt he left the plane and did more work. But I just started thinking about the wealth that he's going to create for his company, his customers, and himself by using that AI technology. He is his own co-pilot, but that's the ways that we're innovating. It's bringing together the multimodal aspects of AI with speech so that we can be the voice backbone for all companies.
Very exciting. I feel like I want to try that out as a journalist myself. So how would it generate the articles for me just based on interviews that I do? So, and kind of in that topic of AI, specifically the accuracy of the transcription, I want to pose a more broader question, especially to the two people over here, Caleb and Tamara, where your company heavily depends upon the accuracy of these transcriptions. So how accurately, first of all, does AI meet your needs in this respective field? And where in the operation specifically is that so crucial for you? Caleb, let's start with you.
Yeah, so your models are always dependent on how good your data going into it is. So accuracy is just kind of paramount for us. So, and we have plenty of internal research that shows that as transcription accuracy goes up, your overall predictive accuracy of your models goes up, and it makes very obvious sense, but it's empirically true as well. But I think the second thing that is very related to accuracy, but the thing that I mentioned previously is that just fairness is super important to us. And one of kind of our big research projects that I did, that I've done at HireVue, has been to kind of evaluate a bunch of different transcription providers. But can we evaluate how fair these are in doing transcriptions? And so what really matters to us is, does someone with a different accent get the same transcription as someone without that accent? Same thing with country of origin. Are people, and we have a lot of this data from candidates. We know where people are taking interviews. We know what language they're taking interviews in, and we can evaluate this so we can say, does someone in the UK versus someone in Italy versus someone in China versus take any country, and we have that country of origin information where we can say, okay, and now we can evaluate the transcription accuracy of all these different places. And then the final thing that we really that we really care about is, do we have similar word error rates between male and female candidates? Do we have, does transcription accuracy depend on how old you are? Does transcription accuracy depend on your ethnicity? So we kind of have all this information of all these candidates, and we can evaluate transcription for that. And it's really important to us that we have just very similar accuracies among all these candidates for that fairness reason. And a great thing about working with Rev is that of all the people that we've looked at, those accuracies are much closer in Rev's solution. So I think that many times what happens in machine learning and AI is that you just throw in all the data that you can get, and when all your data comes from white males, then you're just very accurate on white males, right? And if all you care about is just volume, then you're biased towards the volume that you get. So one thing that really has been great, and we take very, very seriously at our company, is just kind of that breadth and accuracy across demographic groups.
Yeah, you brought up a really important point about how transcription needs to be accurate across different pronunciations, gender, age. And similar to you, Tamara, podcast, it's a global phenomenon and across in different languages. So how do you deal with the accuracy issue, and how accurate is AI for you there?
Yeah, it's shockingly similar to what you're describing. So similarly, anybody can create a podcast, and you can be from any background, and you can have any number of qualities. And it's really important that the systems that we're creating, basically as content moderators and gates to monetization, aren't systematically discriminatory against any individual group. And this is honestly an ongoing process of continuous verification, continuous evaluation of whether our data set of millions of hours of transcripts is representative of the different communities that we serve. We work directly with different groups of creators and the organizations that they're a part of to sample and then evaluate biases in our own analysis. And basically, accuracy is the most important thing. Accuracy and speed are quite important when we're thinking about the consequences of getting it wrong. So as an example, let's consider a very large advertiser with a top 9 recognizable brand who's trying to buy billions of impressions on podcasts. The scale of that creates a lot of risks for them if they accidentally align on content that is talking about things that they can't be associated with. And similarly, if you're a publisher, this could be the biggest deal of the year, is having this advertiser come in and buy your content. And so both parties experience critical failure if the accuracy isn't there. The publisher can't sell their content because it's misattributed as being something that it is not. And this happens all the time. LGBT creators are biased against them. They say that their content is adult. Women talk about things men don't want to hear about, and our voices have more emotion. And so sometimes that can be flagged as being more sensational. Black creators might use different language that's normative in their communities, not in hateful or mean ways that white listeners and white advertisers might not be able to fully understand those norms. And so that's where we have a real opportunity to partner with Rev and do it right the first time in this audio medium so that we don't fall into the same trap that display and CTV fell into, where the word killer shot is always appropriate on ESPN and blocked basically on every single other channel. So that's just like one trivial example, but this stuff happens all the time. It's quite pernicious. And today, we actually launched this week an initiative where we use our pixel tracking technology to monitor the actual dollars going to diverse voices so that brand suitability norms can be actually enforced based on the community norms and not just based on an average that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah, I feel like accuracy in both your cases especially is so important so that it's not gatekeeping opportunities from people. And I want to switch over and kind of more forward-looking in terms of the AI-driven landscape in voice technology is evolving so quickly. So from both you, Zohar and Aron, you're leading in video and in transcription services. I'm very interested to know, how is the AI-driven speech technology, the interplay with human expertise, going to evolve? What are your thoughts on that? Zohar, let's start with you in the video industry. How are you thinking about it?
So I think some of the examples that I mentioned before, obviously related to that, we see AI in general as a enabler for creativity. A lot of our user base and people that come to Vimeo, they come to express their creativity in some way. And there's a lot of talk about how, generative AI in general can affect creativity in the future. And I think, the way we see it is AI is going to redefine what creativity is. And what originality is. And I think when we're talking specifically about speech technologies, there's going to have to be collaboration between humans and AI, whether it's through the input, the coaching, or things that you have within the video that you can extrapolate from. Some of that we were talking about right before this panel, with things like OCR and so forth.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just to play on this. So as transcription gets better, the ultimate goal is to get to near human quality. But to get there, I think there are a couple things that you're going to see, especially over the next 12 months. The first is, think of it as custom models as a service. And so that you can add your own custom vocabulary, because in the video space, if you're Disney, this notion of custom words or rare words is really important, especially from a correction and substitution perspective. So if you're Disney and you're talking about the planet of Tatooine from Star Wars, it makes sense. The last thing that brand wants from a brand identity perspective is to have that come across as tattooing, as in the ink art that people put on their bodies. And so I think you're going to see more custom models as a service moving forward. The other aspect is a concept that we're internally calling human proofing or human review. And that's where the models can self-identify their confidence for every word, every phrase, every sentence, every paragraph, for both accuracy of the word error rates as well as the context. And so it'll be much more efficient, especially an hour-long video or a podcast. If the model itself can self-identify that your accuracy is at 97%, you only have to go back through and review 3. That's really efficient. And so I think what you're going to see is a reinforcement loop, human in the loop reinforcement learning, that's going to come in the next 12 to 18 months through those feedback loops and those custom models as a service. So I think what you're going to see is that we're going to get near perfect from an accuracy perspective in the next 24 months, definitely.
I want to keep on top of this theme of being more future forward-looking as well. And just quickly as we wrap up, so we have some time for questions, I want to hear what exactly are you excited about in your specific field in terms of innovation with AI? Let's start with you, Caleb.
Yeah, so the hiring space is really kind of fixated on you have a requisition and somebody applies to that job. One thing that we're kind of working on and I'm really excited about is instead of just viewing kind of that one-to-one mapping, but to kind of get a better profile of a candidate and to kind of get some sort of understanding of their potential. There could be jobs that candidate doesn't even know about. And they might not even have the skills on a resume that show, oh, well, I'm perfectly qualified for this role. But if we can kind of see, and this is just what we kind of believe at our core about candidates is that candidates have potential. So how can we map that potential to the right job?
Oh, that's kind of an exciting future over there for job applicants. And Tamara, how about you? What's exciting out there in content moderation for podcasts?
Yeah, I think for Barometer, one of our big focuses for the new year is expansion into following where that user-generated content is going. So podcast is the fastest growing advertising channel. However, podcast is quickly expanding into video. It's on YouTube. And so for Barometer, that means kind of a holistic creator-focused approach rather than just individually focusing on podcasts. And so to that end, we have some really exciting creator analysis solutions where we can track information about creators, not just what they say, but what's said about them, and help form that holistic representation of how a creator comes across all of their media types, across their Snapchat and their TikTok and their Instagram, and allowing a brand to really see a creator holistically rather than just based on one tiny sample of their content. And similarly to Rev's roadmap in terms of being focused on multimodal, that's a key part of that, is being able to understand the additional contextual insights that come across from the video environment that aren't captured solely in the audio. That's really important. Another thing that we're really excited about is other languages, and we're just beneficiaries of living in this amazing time when large language models have never been as smart as they are today, and they're continuing to get smarter every day, and we're able to make a lot of use of those different language models so that we're able to analyze content from different regions and basically monetize content that has never been monetized before. Primarily we focus on the top monetized content today, but through the partnership and the ever-growing scale of the transcription that's possible, we can cover more and more inventory over time.
Lots of innovation going there in the podcast front. Zohar, what about you?
I think I'm most excited about two things, and specifically looking at through the lens of Vimeo, is having more people that didn't see themselves as creators or people who are able to create content become creators through by leveraging AI and the variety of different tools that we're seeing today. And the second thing is creatives who are already in this space, how do they redefine what creativity is? And how can you leverage AI, whether it's generative AI in text, in image, in audio, in video, to create new type of creative things, new type of art. I think that's going to be really exciting to see. We're already seeing really amazing things being uploaded to the platform today by creatives who are embracing AI I know there's a lot of conversation and hesitancy in the creative field with AI, as there are fears that it can replace humans. But it's really interesting to see how the creatives who are embracing it, what their output is today and what they're able to do with it.
Yeah, I feel like the next year is going to be all about redefining creativity with AI, the way you're talking about. And Aron, what's in store for the transcription business?
Well, I have many things I'm excited about, but one of them is just live transcription. It's really hard to transcribe live and have quality. It's really easy to do it asynchronously. Just to give you a sense, I'm actually recording this meeting live, and hopefully you're seeing my screen scroll. And so I'm using this as a research project here today. But the reason this is exciting to me is it unlocks a couple of things. One is if you can transcribe very, very quickly, then you can do translation faster and more accurately. So I think I'm excited about the ability to create connectivity, especially internationally and multilingually. Imagine a world where you have a company all hands and somebody where English is a second language with US headquarters. They can actually experience the content natively in real time. And so I think that's really exciting on a front for me is how do we actually unlock it? The other aspect is as the technology gets better and the accuracy gets higher, the fear earlier about risk, about legal risk, financial risk, brand risk, that's going to go away. And it's going to unlock the ability for all of us in this room and everyone we know to be much more innovative and create things that we can't even imagine today. And it's all going to come from the ability to take voice in real time and be able to do something with it that we just can't even imagine today. So I think the future is going to be incredible over the next 5 years.
Yeah, truly exciting about all of the innovations. Very excited about the potential of voice technology to basically assist us and make us more productive and help out in different ways and across different sectors. I want to open it up to the audience briefly. We have probably time for one question. I see your hand there. Yeah, I think you can come to the mic. That's standing there. Yeah.
Hi, thanks so much for the panel. My question is for Zohar, but to anyone. I work for the NBA. We have a ton of IP and content that we're really protective about. But in like a cool future world, we'd like to open up some of it and our IP in a safe way to our fans so that they can become content creators. What sorts of guardrails are most important to put up, primarily from a video standpoint, but also potentially from a text and ASR standpoint?
I think, I think it's a great question that everybody as you can imagine, being in the content field, everybody is grappling with. Like, how do you, first of all, train models in a way that protects IP, and how do you leverage AI as an organization, by containing your content in some way? And we take all those very seriously at Vimeo. So we're working with our partners and with our creative community to make sure that we ensure that and create that trust and protect that IP, both on the creative side and on the content creation side. So, if you're open to it at the NBA, we're happy to have that conversation and see what would be the best path forward.
Awesome, and we're at time, right on time there, Zohar. So thank you everyone for joining us on this panel, and thank you to our panelists for your expertise. And I've been enlightened by this conversation and sparked a lot of curiosity for me. So I'm very excited to see how this all plays out in the future. And I hope you all have a great time at the conference. Thank you.